Welcome, hello. Just getting going here. Thanks for joining in. I hope you stay for a few moments. Hope you participate. See how things go tonight. I'm excited about talking. Excited to see if I can avoid getting permanently banned from TikTok tonight, since there's all these rumors going around about people getting mass banned from there's big Luigi news today. We're going to talk about that at 6 o'clock when I officially get started, or I should say at the top of the hour, because I don't know what time zone you're in. So we're going to talk about Luigi. We're going to talk about probably talk about Luigi a lot, talk about Koberger a little bit, probably, questions and answers, talk about David Betris supposedly getting kicked off of TikTok, and mass bans that are happening on TikTok. Maybe talk about TikTok being back on the Play Store for downloads and changes there. So lots of stuff that we will talk about in the next hour. But again, I'm going to give it about 7 minutes for us to get the room populated a little bit with those who are wanting to join in. And then at 6 o'clock, or about 7 minutes, I will start officially going into my updates and my take on all the news that I've been covering and the research that we've been doing, the new things that have been going on, some of which may be personal about our business, if you want to call it that, and just, the goings on of the Devil's Advocates account and where things are going to go in the future, depending on how TikTok handles or treats us. So we'll see about those things. So I know that we've picked up quite a bit of new people in the last few days. So there could be brand new people to the channel who have never visited us for a live. So welcome if you're the first time you're here. Thanks again for the likes. That helps us get started off to a great start. Thank you a lot for that and for dropping in. Mifa, welcome. Oh my gosh, you told me your real name. Is it Michelle? Gosh, it's been a while since I've talked to you, I guess, and addressed you personally. So I forgot exactly. So, but anyways, good to see you again. And as always, I should say, I think you're here a lot. So hey, I got lucky. Woohoo! I'm horrible with names, and I got lucky. So, are you going to talk about Lulu? Yes, I am going to. Guess what? I'm going to talk about Luigi Mangione, and I'm going to take the risk that TikTok's not going to kick me off talking about his name. A lot of people have been telling me I need to be careful. I need to stop saying his name. I don't do, unfortunately, the pew-pew things. I talk about everything pretty bluntly. I have not got a community guidelines violation since TikTok went down and came back online. So I'm going to trust a moment I'm going to trust the process that we can be adults here and we can say names and we don't have to come up with a bunch of acronyms, which, to be fair, if they're using bots to sweep for keywords, they can search for Lulu just as much as they can Luigi. So I will say these words. If you don't feel comfortable saying these words, I totally get that and understand it. I know there are people who are terrified their account's going to get shut down. So I think if you're just participating and listening to me say all those naughty words, I think you'll be fine as far as your account goes. So let's cross our fingers, that you don't have any repercussions from me speaking my mind, because that's I feel like we're not 100% sure what's going on, so I'm not going to go radical and talk in language that is cryptic. So we'll see how it goes. If I'm wrong, I'm going to have to find another platform. I'm already working on YouTube. I'm already working on our website and things like this. But So I'm just gonna go ahead and use it. We'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. If hopefully we won't get ourselves in trouble. I think I know the few times that I've got a community guidelines violation. I'm pretty sure I know why I got those violations. I can kind of agree with them in a couple of cases. I've only gotten a yawn every time. I only gotten probably 2 videos pulled and 4 lives that got community guidelines violations. I would tell you what I got community guidelines violations for. However, I think those keywords are what got me pegged. And again, it's not saying Luigi Mangione, and it's not talking about those things. That's not even saying things about the shooting and stuff like that. It's not those things that got me busted. It was something else, and I understand it, and I'm not going to say it again so I can avoid getting another community guidelines violation. So, by all means, please hold tight for about 4 minutes. We'll get into a formal introduction, as I tend to do. I'm starting to develop a routine with this stuff, so I'm starting to get into the Wednesday, Friday mode. I'm starting to get into a routine of doing a starting monologue, if you will, of the things that are on my mind today on Wednesdays and Wednesdays and Fridays. But we will have special occasions in which we will go live outside, well, as long as we still have an account on TikTok. There will be times when we will go live outside of the Wednesday, Friday schedule when special events are going to happen, like Monday. Monday is going to be a special event in the Luigi Mangione case, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. So on those kind of occasions, we'll either go live directly after that event on Monday or the following day, most likely on Tuesday, so that I can have some time to digest and come up with what I want to talk about. Thing is, I'm already going live on Wednesday, so if I talk on Tuesday, then I'm also talking on Wednesday. We'll figure all that out, but from time to time, we will go live outside of the Wednesday, Friday schedule, but I will try to stick on the Wednesday, Friday schedule for people to just drop in and say hi and get to know me, share their thoughts. If it wraps up early, it wraps up early. If it goes a little long, it goes a little long, but I shoot for about an hour. And then I also post it to YouTube afterwards, which I will mention again at the end of this broadcast, if you will, or whatever you want to call it, the live. So I'll have it on YouTube in its entirety as well. So again, thank you for the lives. It's an early start for us tonight to get 1,000 likes on the live before we've even started officially in 2 minutes. So that's amazing. We've got great supporters tonight. Thank you very much for helping that out. I realize that I am one of dozens of people covering these stories that you're seeing, and I'm probably not one of your favorites or best. I am working on getting you better and better content. We are polishing our delivery more and more and trying to find our niche, the things that we can relay that we do differently than other people. So that's one of the things we're working on is what can I tell you that you're not going to hear from every other person out there on TikTok. So or YouTube or whatever the case may be. We're getting ready to do long form videos in a podcast type format. We're working on the podcast name and format right now, so that should be coming out as well. But I realize that if you're on TikTok, you're probably not necessarily interested in podcasts. You're not necessarily interested in long form video. Like maybe this is your thing, and that's perfectly fine. So about 1 minute and we'll get started. Just want to wait till the top of the hour to officially go into the monologue, and then we'll get rolling on all the news that's fit to be news in the Devil's Advocates world. And thanks again for the likes and the supports to help us out, and share freely with anybody, invite anybody, of course, all of that helps. Appreciate it very much. Anything you can do to support getting us rolling. We're trying to build that follower base. I don't know, maybe we're flying under the radar because we don't have a big follower base. So maybe we can get away with some of the things that we're getting away with now because of that. So let's get in. It's the top of the hour. Let's get into the news about Luigi Mangione and Koberger and Devil's Advocates account and all the good stuff. So the big news, of course, today, the biggest news, in my opinion, was that the legal team for Luigi Mangione, Karen Agnifilo and her defense team, has formally launched a website for Luigi Mangione called LuigiMangioniInfo.com. I am almost 100% positive it's legitimate. Not only is there nothing sketchy on the site, not only do they link to every court case, the Pennsylvania case, the New York State case, and the federal case in New York against Luigi Mangione, including telling you how to register for PACER, which is a database court record searching for U.S. cases. I have registered for PACER last night. I got logged into PACER this morning. That's not a painless process, I will tell you that. Getting logged into PACER, it's a tirade I'm going to go on maybe in a little bit here about public records. But let's continue with the monologue. So the big news, again, like I said, is that Luigi Mangione's got an official site. Front page of that site was a statement from Luigi Mangione. There was a couple things that were super interesting to me about this. One, I had mistakenly, this is where I have to eat crow a little bit, because I had mistakenly said, you know, it's great that people want to write to Luigi, and I have no doubt that Luigi Mangione is getting his mail. However, I really doubt that he's writing to anyone back. I can't imagine his attorney allowing him to write people. That is apparently incorrect. His legal team has stated that not only can he not be denied his mail, but he's also allowed to communicate with friends and family as part of kind of like a mental, they didn't use these words, but it's kind of a mental health thing, right? A person who's incarcerated can't be kept out from communication from the outside world. And so Luigi is allowed to communicate with people from the prison. So that was kind of a surprise to me in some regards. However, it is limited, friends and family, a select few, and as the official statement on the website stated, something to this effect, that Luigi Mangione is extremely thankful for the outpouring of support people are giving him and the letters that he's getting. He reads the letters. This is what the statement basically says. However, he cannot respond to everything. There's just not enough time to respond to everything. Also, they made a statement on the FAQ on that site. The legal team clarified the legal precedents on why he's allowed to receive mail, which was great. Again, another confirmation that it's a real legal page. It's not just, oh, and I also should point out, Karen Ignifolo's website for her law office also has a link to this official website at the bottom of the page. So everything lines up that this is 100% legit. The website, again, if you don't know it, is LuigiMangioniInfo.com. If you don't know how to spell Luigi Mangione, you can look online and probably get close and you'll get it good enough. You can also see it in the video that I posted today. If you look at my profile, I got it spelled out in the subject headline of the video. So easy to find, should have no problem finding it. So what was I going to say? I was going to comment more about what was on that site. So, oh yeah, she was talking about the books. So in the FAQ, they were talking about, can I send books? Can I send photos to Luigi Mangione? Here's one of the things they clarified on there. He is only allowed to have 5 books in his possession. He's got a ton of books being sent to him. So basically they were asking on the FAQ to basically refrain from sending books. He can only have 5 books at a time, and he's well past the 5 books, right? He can only have 25 photos, I believe. So again, all these photos that are getting sent into him probably are not photos that he can have and keep and all these things. I don't even know if he gets to see them if he can only have 25 photos. I don't know. But the point being is that they specifically stated on the website that Luigi Mangione appreciates the letters he's getting, that he's reading the letters that he's getting, that he can't respond to them all, and he also can't really accept more books and photos. There is a limit per the prison guidelines on how many books he's allowed to have. It looks like Mifo is saying the fund for Luigi Mangione hit a $400,000 mark. On the website that is officially set up by the defense team, there is links to the FundMe source. They are confirming that they will be using those funds for Luigi Mangione's legal defense. They also stated that the website's purpose is in part to help dispel misinformation. Now, nothing on there that I found so far is dispelling any misinformation. They're not addressing that. But this website, I want to say I super commend the legal team for Luigi Mangione for putting this site together. People want to know what's going on in this case. It is hard to find, if you're not, well versed in this kind of stuff like that, where to go to look for the court cases, where to go to find what the docket changes are. For example, the whole reason why I registered with Pacer, as I go on my side tangent a little bit, was people kept telling me that the court date had changed to March 19th for Luigi's federal case. I could not find that anywhere. No mainstream media source that I could find was reporting it. I get text alerts and notifications on my phone when anything new is happening in the case. I could not find it. Somebody sent me a screenshot of a legal document that looked manipulated. It had a different colored text at the top of the page that looked like it was wrong. It is correct. Pacer, who's the official site for tracking U.S. court cases, has that blue text at the top, the different colored text. And I viewed the document straight from the Pacer website, the official online public records, and it is exactly how it looks. So it is correct. The trial date has been moved on the federal case. On the federal case, it has been moved to March 19th. There is still a state case that is set, I believe, for February 27th? I'm not sure about that. I have to look at that again. And then there's the Pennsylvania case as well. So we've got 3 different court systems that are in play here. Great thing about LuigiMangioniInfo.com is that all 3 of those court cases are listed at the very bottom with hyperlinks and case numbers. So you can get the exact case number of Luigi's case. You could also look up in those databases by Luigi Mangioni and just use his name and you can find it. So 21st is for New York State, I believe, is what you're saying. The 29th of March is the federal case has been postponed to the 29th of March. And then there's the Pennsylvania case as well. So yeah, those are great things that they've done. Great public service. It shows to me a fantastic service by the legal team to put money and time behind. Maybe they use some of the funds from Luigi's outpouring of support to put up that website and hire somebody to maintain it. Who knows? So great stuff. I really commend them on that. Monday in the Luigi world is the release, I believe, of the Investigation Discovery Channel's special on Luigi. Who is Luigi Mangioni? I understand the sentiment that people have of, I am not going to watch that show. I'm boycotting the documentaries on Luigi Mangioni. I have no problem with you doing that and taking that stand. Understand that for me, as a person who has chosen to cover true crime with a skeptical eye on law enforcement and media, as the specialty of Devil's Advocates is, we are skeptical of law enforcement media, the official sources. It's my job, per se, to watch all the things that are published. I can't comment on whether or not they're being accurate with the facts if I'm not watching what they're saying. So while I understand and respect everyone's choice to not watch these shows and to boycott them, I will be watching and I will be reviewing it on TikTok Live and on YouTube. So if you care and you feel like that's not a conflict, you could choose not to watch the special so that you're boycotting them and not giving the viewership, but you could come watch me and others, because I'm not the only one, I'm sure, to tell you what it was about. Now, of course, I think it's better for yourself that you hear it from the horse's mouth and then come talk about it from an educated perspective. But by all means, if you don't feel comfortable watching the show and you want to take a stand and you want to make a point by your silence of not watching their special and giving them ratings, fine. Feel free to come watch us talk about it, and we will talk about it at length. Just a question: do you want him to walk free? How do I word this? Now, first of all, I'm going to answer this. My partner and I are in a partnership on the Devil's Advocates. My partner's position was clearly stated last time. Even if Luigi did it, he didn't do it, and by that he means, and I'm kind of with him on this. This is where we're at on this situation. This is like O.J. Simpson all over again. For someone with my age and my gray hair, we went through O.J. Simpson. As the recent O.J. Simpson case pointed out, it wasn't probably so much that people didn't think O.J. Simpson was innocent. They just believed that he wasn't guilty. And there's a difference. Same kind of thing I think is happening with Luigi Mangioni. Whether or not he pulled the trigger, whether or not he was the person that did all the things they said he did or not, at the end of the day, it may not matter. There is a growing amount of people who want to see him not be guilty, regardless of whether he did it or not. Now, let's be careful. This is where people allege that people have been kicked off of TikTok for. Because people who will say that they hope that's the case, that they hope that Luigi Mangioni did it and that he gets to walk free, that is not a popular opinion in platforms such as TikTok. And since platforms like this don't want public opinion to talk about those uncomfortable situations, we must be careful about those situations. Where I stand on this is, I believe that there is a possibility that Luigi Mangioni is playing a game, that there are red herrings that were put out on purpose, and so yeah, okay. Let me be blunt. So I get it. You're trying to pin me down. I'm trying to be careful because, it is my hope that this will open up a public discourse, and that in the end, Luigi Mangioni will be declared not guilty. That is my hope. I also am a firm believer in the concept of innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So as of this day, I believe that Luigi Mangione is innocent and has to maintain the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law. However, that's not the end of the story, because once the trial happens, even if the prosecution proves him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, a jury has the right to say not guilty anyways. That is a weird aspect of our court system, in which a jury can agree that per letter of the law, a person has committed a crime, and they will not hold them guilty for it. So that is a likely, in my opinion, a likely possibility. That's the same kind of thing that happened with O.J. Simpson. That there were jurors, I believe, that believed that O.J. Simpson in their heart probably did what he was accused of, but there was enough reason to be against the system and against what had happened previous to the O.J. Simpson case that it was like, we're not going to find him guilty even if he was guilty, right? So we're gonna render a verdict of not guilty, whether he was guilty, whether he did it or not. So I hope I answered the question. At the end of the day, I am in Luigi's camp in hoping that a jury will find him not guilty. I understand that people like David Betris, who is the attorney who recently got kicked off of TikTok, and I was following him, supposedly, so David Betris has made it clear over and over again, vigilante justice is not acceptable. That if Luigi did it, he must pay, and he is not excited or in the camp of the people who think that if he did it, he should still walk. And that made David Betris very, very uncomfortable. And he would tell you over and over again, if he did it, he needs to pay. All that David Betris was commenting on is that I'm not sure he did it yet, because again, we have the presumption of innocence, and there's problems with the official case. There's problems that he sees as a lawyer. He's like, man, this doesn't look airtight like I thought. So his point was, it doesn't look airtight, but at the end of the day, if it turns out he did it, then he should pay. But there are other people who are like, even if it turns out he did it, he has the legal right for a jury to declare him not guilty anyways. I hope that answered the question. I don't know if you still feel like I'm too dodgy. I am not going to do something that's purposely going to give reason for our account to get banned, kind of thing. I'm just simply stating my opinions as an adult. So, okay, I hope you're good with it. If not, I apologize. I don't like not being direct. If we were on YouTube, I'd be direct with you. I would say it in much more blunt language, but I don't feel that TikTok allows you to be that blunt. So let's just leave that at that. What else? So we got the legal defense putting up the website, luigimangioniinfo.com. Looks great, looks fantastic. It's a great public service. We've got the documentary on Luigi, who is Luigi Mangione, coming out. Do you think that's why David got banned? I was told that all David Betris did was mention about how he had never seen a perp walk, the likes of which Luigi Mangione had, and then his account was shut down. I was also told by TikTokers that TikTok did a massive sweep of TikTok last night and banned a whole bunch of accounts related to Luigi Mangione. I was also told if you say the word Luigi Mangione, your account will be turned off. I was a bit of an ass, and I immediately went on TikTok and posted a video and said Luigi Mangione's name about 5 times. I've also said it about 10, 20 times right now, because I don't think that's what the case is. And if that's what they're going to do, if they're going to ban people for saying a name because we can't be effing adults, then ban me. This isn't the platform for me. So I'm pushing the limits a little, because people are telling me people are getting kicked off for just saying Luigi Mangione, and I don't think that's a problem. We should not have a problem by saying his name. I like David. I don't agree with everything he has to say, but I respect his opinion as attorney. That's where I'm at as well. So that's kind of where I am. I don't agree with everything he says. I tried to get him on the show. I didn't realize he was a bigger fish than I thought. So I'm surprised he even gave me the time of day to have a private conversation with me. But at the end of the day, I think he's got way too many people wanting his attention that he's not coming on this show. And I think he probably doesn't appreciate my opinion because, again, we've stated things like, even if he did it, maybe the jury will find him not guilty, and he doesn't want to have any part of that discussion. And I don't think he would have done anything wrong. That's what bothers me so much. That's what bothered me so much about David Betris getting banned, is that I have gone way further than David Betris. Now, here's the difference. I think David Betris, last time I saw him, had 18,000 followers or more, maybe more. It could have been a much bigger. So maybe because of the number of followers he has more attention on him. I'm small fish, so maybe I'm just flying under the radar because of that. But even so, I've listened to him say a lot of things. He's down the middle. He's a straight shooter. He's just telling you his opinion based on the facts as a lawyer as he sees them. And he's not always pro Luigi. In fact, he's pretty clear that he's not anywhere near this whole idea of he should walk anyways, even if he did it. That is not where he's at. And he makes that clear, right? So it's interesting to me that his account would get shut down. Now, from what I understand, someone told me David Betris has another account on TikTok or two, one of which is his law firm or something like that he's able to get onto that, but he's looking into it, has apparently posted something saying he's looking into why his account was shut down on his personal account, and he's trying to appeal it. I guess I've heard that. TikTok's a rumor mill, so I'm super careful and trying to, I don't know that that's true. I know that the main account I was following doesn't seem to be there, but I did find his videos online because he's got another account, so I can confirm that. But I didn't see him commenting on his shutdown. So if that's happening, sad day in America, and in my opinion, and again, it becomes one of these things. It's not necessarily true that this is a violation of people's privacy. I'm going to see if I can turn on, I don't know if I can do this mid-live. I just got a data notice because I just realized I'm on cellular plan and I'm eating up a ton of my cellular plan instead of using my home Wi-Fi like a moron. So I just turned on Wi-Fi. Hopefully that doesn't screw anything up. I don't even know how I feel if the evidence proves otherwise. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. And again, this is what I feel. I feel that as Americans, as adults, we should be able to have adult conversations. And sometimes adult conversations are admitting uncomfortable things like that. Like, I don't know how I feel. If he's guilty, do I want him to pay? Or do I want a statement to be made? Like, as an adult, we should be able to talk about those uncomfortable questions. But that is not how we're being treated here. They want things a little bit less controversial, and they frankly, I don't think they really appreciate big boy, big girl conversations where you say things that aren't popular. The last thing I think governments want is a movement of the people. The last thing they want is the people to rally behind some kind of vigilante hero and cause problems where there's going to be violence. And again, I have to be careful about saying that word. But the point being is that's what the fear is I think that these platforms want to make sure that doesn't happen, that their platform is not used for a way to rally a public opinion against authority and against the system and how them be somehow complicit in helping people do something horrible. That's what everybody's terrified about. The problem is they seem to have different rules for different people. Right. This is exactly what I was talking about with the O.J. Simpson case. I mean, again, I hate to talk about O.J. Simpson too much because I realize it's out of date for a lot of people, but just before O.J. Simpson was the Rodney King case in which 4 police officers beat Rodney King on videotape, and there was no question in public opinion about those cops having been guilty for beating that man in the street, and they were all found not guilty. There were riots in the streets, and people lost their mind because in the public opinion, they knew damn well those police officers were guilty. They saw it with their own eyes. And then what happened when the OJ case came, there was the backlash, which was that I don't care if he did do it. He's walking because you MFers will let your people get off on when you got it on tape, and we know exactly what happened. So it became, a big deal where people were just like, this is not a statement about this person. It's the bigger issue. Kind of like this user here is saying in the comments. This is, in our opinion, in my opinion in particular, and my partner, in our opinion, this is about the bigger issue. The corruption in American politics, the corporate greed, the health insurance system, which is completely broken, where they point to everyone else and point out that, hey, it's not our fault. It's, if the doctors weren't overbilling, we wouldn't have to deny claims. And if this wasn't happening, we wouldn't have to do this. And hey, we didn't build the system. We just run it. Don't blame us. If we were designing the system, it wouldn't look like this, but we're just doing what we have the tools with, and we're working with the system we've been given. Horse shit. The system is broken and has been broken for a long time. And the American people are effing tired of it. We're sick and tired of the excuses and the blame shifting and, hey, it's not me, it's this guy, and it's not me. You can't, I'm just doing my job. So there are people who think that someone has to make a statement. And that's where we're at, is like, how do people feel? Is that what happened? We don't even know that that's what happened. Right? We don't know that this was a statement against that system, or how people feel about it if it was. I worked for United Healthcare for years. Now I work on the provider side. Yeah, and so I've got a friend as well who works in medical billing and IT support for medical billing. And I feel bad for her because she's been attacked by friends who claim she's part of the problem. And she's like, I'm actually working on your side to fight the insurance companies. Like, one of my jobs is to try to help make the insurance companies pay. So you're taking it out on the wrong person. So some will argue that's the same thing that happened with Brian Thompson. Was he the right person to pay for the broken system? Because every single person down the line is saying it's not his problem. He's not the one that personally approves or disapproves your claims. So why does he pay? And this person's not the person who approves it. It's a system. Like, everyone blame shifts, so there's no one to put the blame on. Everyone knows the problem is a problem, but no one knows where to put the ire and the wrath towards, because everyone can point to somebody else as being the problem. So, how do we feel about the fact that somebody decided, if that's what happened? We don't know Luigi's First of all, we don't know Luigi Mangione did it. He hasn't had his day in court. That's a fact. We don't know. And if he did do it, we don't know his motivation, because we haven't gotten into that yet. So there's so much we don't know. So we have to speculate. If it was done as a statement, if the manifesto is really his, and if the manifesto tips us off on what the reasons were, how do we feel about that? Some of your comments, by the way, are getting blocked. I don't know why you saying we need universal health care is a controversial thing, so I'm going to unblock that one. I don't know if I run a risk approving comments that the bots or whatever had decided might not be appropriate for adults. It feels appropriate to me. So what else do we have? Again, if you want to, the last couple of times, this channel started talking about Luigi Mangione. Then when it got kind of cold on the Luigi case, we moved on a bit to Kohberger. Most of my research lately has been on Kohberger, and there's lots to do in the Kohberger world. Brian Kohberger, the suspect in the Idaho 4 murders. But the last couple of lives, we've spent pretty heavy on Kohberger, so I feel like spending the night tonight with Luigi is par for the course, or something that's overdue. So I'm okay staying with Luigi if we have other comments, but we're kind of running out of things we can talk about unless there's more questions. We aren't celebrating, we're just mourning, and can understand what drove this young man to the edge. The fact that they continue to be tone deaf to our strife just shows why. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I feel a lot of Americans are feeling, is that they want to diminish the fact that this is something that's been brewing in America. This is like the Marie Antoinette situation. All it takes is for one person to say, you know what? Screw the poor. Let them eat cake. And they was like, that's it. We're gonna take this into our own hands. This is almost a Marie Antoinette situation in the American form. Someone went over the top with the denials of claims and all these things, and skyrocketing denials of claims, and someone said, enough. you know? So it's a big adult conversation, and it's difficult, and that's where we are. Blue Cross Blue Shield wanted to dictate a surgeon on how much the anesthesia they need. Right. And here's the thing about that. Isn't it interesting that Blue Cross changed their position on limiting the amount of time that an anesthesiologist can bill after the Luigi Mangione situation? Not after the Luigi Mangione, because we don't know Luigi Mangione did it. Let me repeat this again. I keep making that old mistake. After Brian Thompson was shot, all of a sudden, Blue Shield says, you know what? I think we're going to rethink the whole limiting the anesthesiologist's pay. Huh? Is that right? You're going to rethink it now. So for those who say violence is never the solution, I get it. But we have to also ask, did Blue Shield, did they change their opinion because of what happened? Did they realize, oh my gosh, like this is the worst time for us to do something like limiting the cost of anesthesia? Because that was going to have a trickle down. If the anesthesiologist is not going to get paid, then they're going to start cutting corners and they're going to limit things. And then all of a sudden it's going to be, well, if that surgery that's supposed to take 5 hours is now going to take 15 because there's a complication, I guess that patient just dies because we're not paying for it and somebody's got to pay for it. So time of death, we're done because no one's going to pay for it. And that was going to trickle down, and that was going to be a nightmare, in my opinion. So the fact that they were going to we're just going to stop paying the anesthesiologist at 5 hours, and I don't care if there's a complication. It should be done in 5 hours. If it took 15, that you're eating 10 hours. And then the Brian Thompson thing came out, and they were like, you know what? Let's rethink that. Maybe that was rash. Maybe that was rash. So did it make a change? Did this event make a change in American history? Did we start going, maybe there is a breaking point on some of this stuff? I don't know. Had Brian Thompson not died, that decision would not have been reversed. I agree. I tend to agree that the only reason they reversed course on the anesthesiologist thing was because of what happened, and they were basically in an oh shit moment. Like, oh my gosh, we are not going to pay for this one. Wrong time. They might try to bring it back later after American sentiment dies down. If Luigi Mangione is found guilty and everybody feels like that was justice, then they might go, yeah, let's put that back on the table. But I don't think you're going to do it for a while. So, great thoughts for tonight. It's a shame in a way that we don't have a little bit more, dialogue going on and stuff like that, but we're working on getting the channel going. And again, I have guests come on from time to time, and we do get that little back and forth. Right now, as I stated at the beginning of the show, I'm just trying to see if I can actually talk about this topic without getting the account kicked off. So we'll see how that goes. Remember the timing, many of us felt helpless when Trump won. Lou reflected a need for a hero. Yeah, right. There's a lot of different areas. I always am careful about taking it into the political realm too much. But yes, all of those factors very, very much are what's happening in the American consciousness. David Betriss's account getting banned, I don't understand it. I've watched enough videos of that guy that I know he's super careful. So I don't know the story. I don't know what he said. It bothers me because when I ask people what he said, and people say, the first thing I got told when I said, why did he get banned? And they said, he mentioned the name Luigi Mangione. And so I was like, I'm going to do it too. Luigi Mangione. Like, I'm talking about it right now. I haven't called him Lulu. I haven't called him LM. I'm not pussyfooting the name. I'm going to talk about it. If my account gets shut off, I will know this platform is not for us. It's just not for adults. And so we'll see. I don't think they're going to go that way. I actually am trusting in the system that there's some people who have intelligence who are going to be like, we can't shut down all free speech. And because I don't know what David Betriss said, I can't tell you that that's all he did. I don't know. I can tell you this, watching David Betriss's account for as much as I have, I can't imagine what he could have said. I cannot imagine what he could have said. What I suspect may have happened, but I don't know, it was that maybe somebody on his live, if he was doing a live, said something, and they both got the whole channel shut down because of some guest he had. Although it used to be that TikTok said that they don't hold the host directly accountable, that they put more weight on the guest that said it than the host, but they do also say that a host is responsible for the guests that they have on. So there's a little symbiotic relationship. You follow him on Instagram and YouTube, so hopefully he'll post more on there. Yeah, I would like to know as well, if you happen to get that information, if you think about it for 2 seconds and you care to shoot me a note, I would like to know. I'm looking for some kind of confirmation about why it is David Betriss's account would get shut off. I was told, again, mass amounts of accounts. A sweep is how it was described. A sweep of TikTok happened and a bunch of accounts were shut off. I don't know who else was swept up in it. So again, I don't know. My account's still here. Half my videos or more are on Luigi Mangione with his name in the title, in the subject, in the voice, in the live recordings. So I don't know why I'm still here if they're sweeping up every person who says the name Luigi Mangione. And as you may have seen from the beginning of this show or this live, I even say stuff that's of the writing the line thing, right? Maybe I can get away with saying Luigi Mangione as long as I say, yeah, he's absolutely guilty and I hope to hang him. If I say that, I bet you I'm okay on maybe. But maybe they say just mentioning his name will get me banned. But I'm on the weird part of that line, right? And I'm still here at the moment. We'll see how it goes. I appreciate everything that you guys are bringing up tonight. They are really great comments. And if anybody happens to know exactly what happened to David Betriss, please let me know. If you can confirm that multiple accounts were shut down. Here's some things that happened in the TikTok world. I forgot. I teased this at the beginning. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday that I got a pop-up on my phone saying that TikTok was now officially back on the App Store, both in Apple and in Google Play. I believe that just happened yesterday. And I think I just saw the news article saying that was also happened, that it was put back on the download store. So something has changed maybe in the last 24 hours. So is it true that there was a sweep of TikTok made in the last 24 hours? Well, maybe something changed. Maybe in conjunction with making the app available again for download, somebody did a sweeping overview of TikTok's accounts and did a purge. I don't know. David's last video was about the New York City Mayor, Eric Adams, and being involved in the perp walk. Yes. If David Betriss talked about the dismissal of Eric Adams' charges and had opinions about that, I could see how that might get him in trouble. I'm not saying that's wrong. I don't think he should be banned for having an opinion about Eric Adams' charges being dismissed and having them drop the case against him. But if that was what he was talking about, it might make more sense than just mentioning Luigi's name. He also expressed a disgust that Trump dismissed the mayor's charges. Right. And maybe, again, it's the mention of the name Trump. There's a lot. That's just it. I'm trying to get to the bottom. I'm trying to get to the bottom of what was the trigger. And of course, here's the difficulty we have as I'm rambling and rambling and rambling. We have biases, right? Oh, you can't say anything bad about Trump, so therefore, if you said the name Trump, you're getting kicked off to TikTok. And that's a bias on your part. It may or may not be true. Same thing with, you can't talk about Luigi. If you say Luigi Mangione's name, you're getting kicked off to TikTok. Again, that may not be true. I'm still here. I'm saying it for the 50th time tonight. So I don't know. I'm looking for confirmation. I seriously doubt TikTok wants to admit that just mentioning someone's name is going to get you kicked off their platform, but we'll see. So you got a strike for mentioning something. See, here's the thing. I can tell you from my own perspective, and I'm not saying that you are not correct what you just said. When I get strikes, it's pretty vague. Now, actually, let me correct that. I have never gotten an official strike. I have gotten a warning one time that basically hinted that that warning would have been a strike, but because it was my first one and they want to give me time to figure out what is not appropriate and what is appropriate, it was a warning the first time. I don't believe, oh, look, there's a cat walking through the camera. That's fantastic. So I don't believe it was an actual strike. No, it wasn't a strike, but usually it's vague. It's a vague, your video violates community guidelines. What does that mean? It doesn't lay it out. I have to figure it out. So for me, I've had to try to guess, what did I say that could have been a violation? And it's a pure guess. And when you appeal that decision, your appeals are limited. You may have an appeal that was like, what I said wasn't a violation, or it may be it was incorrectly violated, or you could be like, one of the options is other people on TikTok are saying it, and you don't know which one of the appeal options to pick because they don't tell you why you're given the guideline violation. So how do you appeal properly when you don't know what basis they used to do it? And one would argue it's their platform; they can do whatever the hell they want to. So there's that. Yeah, and a lot of people claim that they're getting banned because of comments. I make videos, and I don't know how I'm getting away with it yet. I don't think I'm special. I'm probably just flying under the radar. Let's see, what else? Makes me wonder how TikTok works. Yeah, I imagine the way the process is supposed to work is bots look for certain things, and that's going to happen. But what they're more probably looking for is users like you who are flagging content providers like me as saying something inappropriate. And I would imagine, and please don't do this, gosh, I hope there's no trolls in here, but I would imagine that if you report me, I will immediately, for whatever reason, it could be you just don't like the way I look. If you report me, I would imagine I'm going to immediately get a pop-up on my screen. Please don't test it. I don't freaking want to know, and I don't want to see it. But I would imagine that they immediately are going to say, hey, your audience, you have been restricted because you may be talking about things that are inappropriate. And then what I believe happens is that a human being will review that case and take a look and go, okay, the time marker where somebody reported it was right here. If they have time, I don't know how many employees they have, they might look at it and go, there was no violation here, we'll remove their flag. Or they'll wait till you appeal it, in which case they'll do the same thing. They'll go back to the time marker when it was marked, they'll try to see what you were saying, and that's if they have time, if they have enough employees. But I imagine the numbers of people getting violated are enormous, and are getting reported are enormous, and so they probably don't have enough employees on hand to check into them all. And so therefore it leads to the uncomfortable situation where they're just gonna let bans stay because they don't have enough time to clear everybody's name. Now maybe you get lucky. Maybe, I'm guessing, all pure speculation, that if you've appealed and someone's gone and looked at it and you won the appeal, like I've won a couple appeals, maybe you're given a little bit more grace in the future. They're like, this guy repeatedly gets flagged. We've looked into it more than once. He's really not violating content. So we're going to give him a little bit of a free pass or a little bit more leeway because maybe people are just reporting him because they don't like him. So I don't know. That's all speculation. All right. Wow. I just have rambled and rambled and rambled. So what else is new? I will briefly point out again that we cover Brian Koberger's case. I have started watching 2 hours or so of the last hearing that was kind of a partial Frank's hearing and whatever from the defense trying to toss out evidence so I could see it in my own eyes in full. I've seen portions of it, but I started to watch the whole video. Nothing really new to report there. We're working on more long form videos for YouTube, so we may do long forms about it. Those kind of opinions and analysis don't really fit for TikTok, probably not even on the live. So yeah, that'll probably be a YouTube type of thing. But again, that's where we're at now. We got a few more days before the next Luigi Mangione special comes out. Funny, we're going to have Eric Adams quoted in that documentary, and now he's in the news for having his charges dismissed, which was an interesting... Yeah, I don't want to get into that, but it was interesting the way that was done. It was kind of like a... what do you want to call it? A quid pro quo thing. We'll drop this if you do this kind of thing. So that became very disturbing. But we have a broken system. This is why we are in a situation where we're talking about if somebody rails against the system, how do we feel about that, or how should we feel about that? It's difficult questions. Any other comments, questions, thoughts about Luigi or the new website that went up from his legal defense team? You want to weigh in on whether or not you're going to watch the special? Are you going to watch the Who is Luigi Mangione on Investigation Discovery? Are you going to watch it? If you're not going to watch it, are you going to watch any of your followed content providers like myself or others who follow the case to see what they tell you was said on the thing? Are you gonna completely check out because you don't want to prejudice yourself in the case at all? So I'm just curious if you have thoughts or whatever. I haven't seen a comment come in for a long time, so now I'm beginning to wonder if my comments are working. If anybody could just say they're working, okay, great. It looks like they're working, but for the long time. The defense team put up the website LuigiMangioneInfo.com. LuigiMangioneInfo.com. It is an official website by the Agnifillo's legal team. It has links at the bottom of the page to all 3 court cases, the Pennsylvania case, the state case, and the federal case. There's a statement from Luigi Mangione given through the cooperation of his attorney to the people who are giving him support. There's a link to the fund to raise funds for him, which I was told tonight has reached now 400,000. Last I knew it was 300,000, but maybe now with the publishing of the website and renewed attention, that's going up. So great website. Kudos to the defense team for reaching out to the public, letting them know that Luigi is receiving letters. That I was surprised to find that Luigi Mangione is even allowed to write back. They cited the prison law that basically says that a prisoner cannot be basically kept from having outside communications. It's not good probably for their mental health to be completely cloistered off from the outside world. And so Luigi Mangione is allowed to correspond. However, the official statement from Luigi Mangione is that he does not have time to respond to the massive amounts of mail coming in. Also, they've listed on an FAQ on the website, can you send him books and photos? Yes, you can send him books and photos. However, Luigi Mangione, per the law in that state, or the prison procedure, I should say, probably more of the prison's policy, cannot have more than 5 books in his possession. He's been sent crap tons more than 5 books. So he can't take in any more books. So basically they were asking in the FAQ to kind of stop sending books because he is only allowed to have 5 books. He's only allowed to have 25 photos or pictures. So all the photos that people are sending to him aren't necessarily going to get to him. There was also some interesting information, by the way, on the website about how to format your letter to Luigi Mangione. They pointed out that all of Luigi Mangione's correspondence will be read and reviewed before handed to him, and then it will be photocopied, and he will get a photocopy of your letter. He will not get your actual letter. So because of that, they've asked you to format your pages, your handwritten letters, with wide margins so that when it gets photographed, your letter's not getting cut off on the outside margins. Interesting and really good information from those who are writing him letters. Your letter is going to be reviewed. You should know that already. Your letter is going to not be given to him if there's some kind of weird thing that you're saying that's going to be like, hey, I'll be an alibi for you if you want, or something like that. You know, that's probably not going to get to him. But he's getting the letters by large, but it's going to be photocopied. There's reasons for this, as my wife pointed out. Some people will smuggle in substances in the ink, for example, and so they photocopy it potentially for reasons like this, to make sure that nothing's getting smuggled in through ink or paper transfer or whatever. So it's interesting that they were explaining how that process works on the website. Yeah, he did. I think the statement was that he reads all of the correspondence. He just can't respond to everybody. So yes, the reference to class divisions, etc., in Luigi's statement surprised his lawyers would let him go there. Yeah, here's another reason why I said I can't believe his attorneys would let him write to people. However, what I had to eat crow on is they pointed out he has the legal right. He can't be cut off from society. You can't tell him he's not allowed to have any kind of interaction with human beings and those kind of things. So there's that bit of the kind of like, hey, a prisoner is afforded a certain ability to communicate kind of thing. But what I'm surprised about is all of these armchair handwriting analysis, right, who are seeing Luigi's manifesto signed online. So now all of a sudden, if Luigi's writing back to people are going to have handwriting analysis. Here's Luigi writing to me here, and you see how he makes a loop on his G's, and on the manifesto, he makes the same loop on his G's, so therefore it proves from my personal letter I got from Luigi that he wrote that manifesto. It's his handwriting. That kind of shit's going to happen. I would be surprised. That's what I said. I would be surprised his lawyer would want him writing to anyone, because the question about whether or not that manifesto is his would be bolstered by those handwritings. Now, maybe, I don't know, maybe his legal team has given up on arguing that it's his manifesto, and they're going to say, yeah, it is his manifesto, and so therefore there's nothing to argue about it. They've already conceded it. We don't know. We haven't got to that point in the trial. So maybe that's what happened. I don't know. But it's just interesting that they would quote unquote, because again, I thought there's no way his attorney's going to let people write to people. There are people, by the way, and I'm not going to name them by name, but there are people who on TikTok who are trying to tell you that they've got some kind of inside connection to Luigi Mangione, and that if you want to get letters to and from Luigi, you got to work through them. I still maintain that's horseshit. That's not how it works. But there are people who will say just about anything to get a bunch of followers. So I don't know. But I also said that I didn't think that he'd be writing to people, and apparently he can. It did clarify he's allowed to comment. He's allowed to communicate with friends, family, and something else. So if he puts you on his friends list, that may be it too. I had one individual in my family who was incarcerated. I had to get on a list of people he was allowed to see and communicate with. So maybe it's the same kind of thing. If Luigi takes the steps to put you on a list of, I want to communicate with this person, maybe you will. Maybe he can't just write to everybody and their dog. I don't know. These are questions. I'm not stating fact. I'm just stating from the limited thing that I know from a family member of mine who was incarcerated, and the kind of process that I had to go to be able to see him in prison and to communicate with him. So I don't know that that's the same in every state. I don't know how it works everywhere, but that's kind of what I ran into. And that's been 20 years ago. So who knows if I even remember it completely right. I think many, including myself, feel that way. However, people are different. Yeah, you were talking to somebody else in the comments, so I was just I was seeing if there was anything there for me. Any other comments, questions, concerns about the website? Does anybody need that website again? Again, it appears that it's been confirmed. I did a who is search. It's a public record search for who owns the domain name. It was registered, I believe, on January 7th in Florida. I didn't look into where Karen Agnifalo's legal team is, whether or not the domain name was just purchased in Florida, whether the legal team's in Florida. It didn't list the owner per se and say it was Karen Agnifalo. It was generic, so I don't know. But I have no reason to doubt that that website, LuigiMangioniInfo.com, is anything but legitimate. Again, everything there was the actual court numbers, the actual court case numbers, actual good information about how to register for PACER if you want to get into the PACER system, how to get on the dockets to be able to follow the dockets and get updates on the dockets. Everything there was super useful. So even if it wasn't his team, it's super useful information, legitimate information. But I do believe it's his team. In fact, somebody had also told me that I have not verified that Karen Agnifalo's website for her law office also has a link to that new website at the bottom of that website for the law office. So it's I believe I can say with 99.9% certainty it's legit. And no, and in fact, I forgot. I did a Your Story post on TikTok. Rolling Stone has confirmed. Rolling Stone magazine. So there you go, 100%. Rolling Stone magazine said that Karen Agnifalo's law team has confirmed that that website was set up by them in an exclusive interview with Rolling Stone that they gave. So yes, I had a screenshot of the Rolling Stone article that stated that Rolling Stone can confirm that it's a 100% legitimate site. I forgot all about that. It happened late in the day. I posted it really quick to my story. Just a screenshot of the Rolling Stone confirms that this is legitimately put up by his legal team. So yeah, it's legit. It's 100% legit. Oh, wow. Like I talk so fast and 100 miles an hour. So any other comments, questions, concerns about the Luigi Mangione? I tend to keep these at about an hour. We're at 10 minutes away from an hour. I didn't have a guest on tonight. That's fine. We kept it mostly about Luigi, which I owed those who follow the account for Luigi, because I know that people were probably getting a little frustrated if you were following Luigi and I talk about Koberger for an hour. So tonight we did almost 100% Luigi. Again, the special is coming up on Monday. Who is Luigi Mangione? With a special guest appearance from Eric Adams, Mayor of New York. That's going to be fun. P. Diddy has some new stuff. We follow P. Diddy a little bit, but frankly, it doesn't seem like very many people who follow our channel are interested in P. Diddy, so we're kind of keeping it on the back burner and just kind of watching, because we do think that there's a story there. We think that's going to get to be a way bigger story, but until something breaks to prove that we're right, that it's going to be a bigger story, we'll just keep it on the back burner and keep watching it and see how that goes. Yeah, you're welcome for the updates. I tried to get out there right away when I found out about the website to kind of help. I don't know how many people follow, whether I'm just one of 50 people you'll follow in the Luigi case or one of the only people you follow. So either way, I wanted to make sure that I got that out there as quickly as possible. So I'm trying to keep up on breaking news in the case to do that through this account. Also, again, we have our website, devilsadvocates.info, which is our primary platform. And we've got the YouTube channel for long form videos. And we're working on a podcast which we're trying to formalize. So all of that's in the works. We've kind of given up on other social media platforms at the moment. We do have a Twitter account. We do have a Substack account. We do have a Clapper account, but no real efforts into those yet. Each one of those platforms are going to have their own type of followers, their own type of voice. And so we're trying to decide where to spend our time and efforts at. So bear with us while we figure that out. I don't know that really I have something special that you want to follow me from platform to platform. I acknowledge that I don't know that I'm doing that makes me unique. But if you want to stay with me, I do super appreciate it, and I will get better at it in time and provide better analysis and better comments. So hopefully you are seeing us in the infancy stage, and this will become more polished and more interesting as we go and stay together. So hopefully that is the case. So we're about 8 minutes till the end. I'm getting really to a wrap up at this point. So it may be early tonight. Sometimes I've gone 8 minutes or 5 minutes late. So I'm going to give a last second for questions. How long have you been on TikTok? 4 years, but as Devil's Advocates, about 4 months or less. No, it's got to be less than 4 months. A couple months as Devil's Advocates. I started out on TikTok years ago talking about spirituality, Christianity, deconstructing Christianity and Gnosticism and spiritual topics as Gnostic Buddha. And I had, it's a brand new channel. This is a brand new channel. So Gnostic Buddha is out there on TikTok. It was my first account. I did that for quite a while. I got hot and heavy in it. I took a break. My mom passed away, and I had kind of like a recheck of my mental focus, and I came back with a buddy to resurrect Devil's Advocates, which was a blog that we had 12 years ago when we were covering the James Holmes Aurora, Colorado shooting, and we did a blog for a while. I got super wrapped into conspiracy theory and the community, and had all kinds of weird shit happen in my life. It's part of my personal story. I'd love to tell it someday if anybody gives a rip to hear it. It was super interesting. I had a wild ride in a lot of ways, but we shut that down. And here we are 13, 14 years later, resurrecting the Devil's Advocates as a TikTok account and a website, devilsadvocates.info, and a YouTube channel, and seeing if we can do this more full time. And now I don't get to be nervous. And now I don't have to be nervous. The things that made me nervous back then, I don't care about anymore. Yeah, I'll give you a teaser in a couple of 4 minutes. So without naming names, because this individual is still on the internet, unbelievable. Without naming names, during my research, my website coverage of James Holmes blew up when a group of people calling themselves the Homies were on a social media platform, Tumblr, I think it was. They blew up. They were a bunch of fanboys and girls that were supporting James Holmes as a glorified guy, and they loved the fact that I was questioning law enforcement. I ended up having people call me up and offer insider information. I had an individual I can verify had just gotten out of prison, had filed paperwork to reroute James Holmes' mail from Colorado to his residence in Florida, and then contacted me and said, I've got his mail. I can tell you what drugs he was taking, what psychiatric drugs he was taking. I've got a copy of his citation for running a stop sign. I've got all this personal information, and I'm willing to give it to you so you can break it on your website. And I'm like, I am not committing a federal crime by taking stolen mail. It was confirmed that that individual did indeed reroute that mail and did that. I confirmed who it was. That individual, by the way, is still making content on social media. He did crazy things, in my opinion, with the Sandy Hook thing. Absolutely. I mean, I was a little bit nervous at this guy's stability when I watched some of the stuff he did, and I got super nervous to be around him. Then here's one of the craziest things that happened to me. And by the way, so if you don't want to hear my personal story, good night, and thank you for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. I'll just do a little bit more of my personal story. So during that time, I will confess, I worked for the intelligence agencies for the United States government. I had a security clearance, and I worked with 3-letter agencies, CIA, FBI, and these kind of things. I was not an investigator. I was a low-level dog, but I had a clearance. And so during the investigation into James Holmes, I was starting to point fingers at dishonesty among the FBI, that they were lying to the public, the FBI, on stuff that was out in the public. And I started to get a conflict of interest of how I was feeling about it, because I had a security clearance and I literally was working indirectly with the FBI, the CIA, and 3-letter agencies. And so I was getting nervous, like, are they going to fire me for questioning the FBI when I work indirectly for the FBI? I worked for a group that was known as Special Programs in Defense and Homeland Security. And again, it sounds more important than it was. I was a low-level guy, but I had SCI clearance. I had top secret clearance. During that time, as I was investigating James Holmes, I had a theory that there was a conflict in the 911 in the police and audio recordings that night of the shooting, which indicated that there may have been more than one shooter in Theater 8 and Theater 9 at the same time, and that police were looking for a second suspect or a third suspect hours after the shooting and minutes before the chief of police went on news and said there's no reason to believe that there's anyone involved in this other than the lone gunman James Holmes, who is now in custody, and we have no other evidence. Meanwhile, I'm literally listening to them talk about searching cars for bombs. They're looking for other suspects. They're breaking into the mall next door to the theater, looking for other suspects that are hidden. They're looking for suspects while telling America there's no evidence and no support for anybody else involved in this but the lone gunman. And I'm like, that's horseshit. I'm listening to your 911, to your fire and dispatch channels. You're literally looking for other suspects while you're telling us there are no other suspects that are being considered. Anyways, so what happened was that an individual, why this is taking a little longer than expected, built a 3D model of the theater that night and was starting to place where the victims were seated when it happened, and coming up with a theory. I as well was making a 3D model using a program called SketchUp, available for free by Google, to make a 3D model of the theater as well, and explaining what I think happened during that shooting. When we saw each other's stuff, we were like, oh my God, we need to do a YouTube together and talk about this. So I started to talk to this individual. And I'm going to wrap it up with this cliffhanger at the moment here, right? So I started to talk to this individual privately, and I said, hey, full disclosure, I've got a security clearance, but I'm a low-level guy. He lost his mind. He cut off communication with me. He went on to YouTube and said, this guy works for the government. He's a shill. He's a disinformation specialist. He's trying to cloud the conversation. And the only reason that happened was because I had a question about why there was smoke, like a smoke grenade in Theater 8, when the shooting happened in Theater 9, for example, right? And so I was like, how did smoke get into the other theater? Later, I found out that there's vents between the walls of the two theaters, and that a canister had maybe landed right beside a vent and leaked smoke into the adjoining theater, explaining how smoke got into the other theater so quickly. I pointed that out, that, hey, this may explain it. And the guy goes, yep, he's a disinformation specialist. He used to say it was multiple people. Now he's saying it's one guy, and it's explained by this canister thing. He lost his mind, but it got worse than that. After he lost his mind, he took a break from me for a while. He called me out on the internet. In fact, I think on YouTube, you can still find him calling me out on the internet. He ended up getting nuts, getting crazy. He went to a university. I believe he stabbed a professor on campus. I don't know what that was about. He claimed that the government was after him and that government agents were following him. He got into a police chase and he was shot and killed in the parking lot of like a Best Buy parking lot. And it hit so close to home. I was like, oh my God, he thinks I'm that government agent that's following him. And I'm like, and I was terrified for a while. My whole mind went into the conspiracy world, like, oh my God, is him and his friends, because he had friends, are they looking at me now? Did they think I killed their buddy and helped set up? I was like, I'm out. And my partner's like, dude, you can't back out. And I'm like, I'm out. Like, I got a family. I got to worry about how crazy this is getting. That's just some of my story. So I hope you appreciate that. So thank you for listening to my story. I hope that was entertaining enough. I'm wrapping up for the night. Luigi Mangione special on Monday. I believe it's at 5 o'clock my time, and I believe it's an hour or a 2-hour special. I may go on live afterwards, or I may go on the next night after I've had time to digest it. I'm not sure. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you very much for the likes tonight. Any gifts that have come my way, I appreciate so much. It's a little shame that we can't get a little higher viewership. I guess thank you. Anyways, so thank you so much for everything. It's been a pleasure. This is exactly what I want to do. Thank you so much for everything. Have a good night. Again, about 2 hours after this, I will have this live posted on YouTube. If you want to watch it its entirety, if you came in late, you'll be able to watch it again. I have all the lives that I've ever done. I talk about Brian Koberger. I talk about P. Diddy a little bit. I talk about long form of different things. So feel free to check those out. Check out my website. Be a follower, engage. I comment and respond to people. If you send me private messages, I will be responding back to you. So love you guys. Have a great night, and see you next time on Friday at 6 p.m. Wait, this is Friday. On probably Tuesday. Sorry, on Tuesday. Wednesday and Friday are my official nights, but I may be going on live Tuesday because the special is coming out on Luigi Mangione on Monday. All right, take it easy and have a good night.